Good evening, folks. I've only just plumbed up my carb hat. I haven't actually tested it, but yeah, it looks really good. Very happy with it. Really finishes it off nice. I'll show you in under the... I didn't show you this before, guys, but look how Simon has bell-mouthed the ceiling part of that hat. He's done a beautiful job. We've got around 2.5 inches of from the carb to where the welds are there. So we've got a nice bit of, what would you call that? Like a extended plenum area to try and get the air to straighten up and sort of shoot straight down through the 4 chokes. I'll tell you what it's going to do, guys, and I'll bet you any money that it's going to make this very responsive, just straight off idle. With the old carb hat, I noticed it wasn't quite as responsive off the throttle versus with no hat on it at all. So having a little bit extra plenum there, you'll have more air just sitting there for the engine just to pull on just as soon as you crack the throttle. And that's going to really help, especially in situations where I need to get on the throttle sort of just straight out of corners instantly and try and help it sort of not stumble or struggle that little bit. And it'd be just enough to slingshot me and get that engine, sort of get it out of that sort of vacuum state and really get on the accelerator very quickly, and then she'll all sort of come on from there. But goodness me, I'm very excited to test this hat. My gut's really telling me that it's going to work really well. I've looked on the forums and I've been on Google, and you look at some of the hats designs, and I've never seen anything like this one. I can see the sense in this. I can see where Simon's coming from, and I've spoken to a lot of people and they all agree with me that plenum really helps carb hats. Unfortunately though, it won't fit in under the bonnet, so it's really not suited for someone who wants something under the bonnet. It's just never going to happen. It's going to sit up there. That's roughly, you're going to see a fair bit of it sticking out. Yeah, very interesting. I can't wait to test it. The carb conversion kit's turned up, guys. So, turned up there Friday. So we've got increased diameter needle and seats, slightly bigger diaphragm for the accelerator pumps. Actually, that power valve is the same as my other one in the carb. So we've got another one, that's a block-off one on the right side. We've got some E85 compatible washers and a little, what would you call that, for the power valves. So they're all E85 compatible. He's given me some 92s and 100 jetting. We've got the modified metering blocks. So that'll be interesting, because on my carb, on the boosters, there could be a potential restriction in those. So we're really going to have to just test and see. One fella recommended that I might have to go to slightly or different down leg boosters that can flow the E85, but we're going to test it. But we're going to be very aware that if we do run into leaning issues, that could be a restriction. So, oh no, it's fantastic. We've got some sized shooters. Now they're 45s. And my carb guru that's going to guide me through this process has actually sent me some of these. So thank you, George. You're a legend, mate. You really are. He's given me, these are 37s, and we've got some little screws with holes in them to suit. So we're going to get good flow through those. So we've got a little option there to try the shooters. You know, in case these are a little bit too big, we can come back a whisker on the size. So that'll be very nice. I'll do a video on it too, guys, when I go to, I'm keen to do it tomorrow. So I'll do a vid on that and show you how it all sort of comes together. Just bear in mind though, folks, I'm not an expert on the carb. So this for me is deep learning. I'm starting to get my head around it, but I've still got a lot to learn. But, you know, if I make a mistake in the way I explain something or whatnot, so don't be too harsh on me. I'll do the best I can. And I've got a great little instruction manual there. There's a little tip too. They recommend I drill out my jet extensions to make sure that there's plenty of flow through them. They give me the size for the drill bits, so that'll be an interesting one too. So I'll do vids and share it all, and that'll be a very interesting thing, because I do want to dive into carbies and learn a lot more about it, because I want to tune this myself too, guys. I'm going to take it down the track and on a private test day and just focus on the tuning on the carb. I've got to switch over to lambda, so I've got to read that from now on. So that's going to take a little bit to get used to that. I've really got to, well, what they say is 0.7 to 0.8 is the target range. So it'll be very interesting. So I'll do vids on all that and show you the whole process on how I go about it, and yeah, sort of learn from there, and we'll go from that. I'm leaving my timing the way it is, so it's on the pump fuel timing. So that for me, I feel that's very conservative. So we just focus, like I said, on the fueling. Make sure we get everything sort of looking good before we start introducing, well, before we get on to the boost. That's what I'm sort of trying to explain. I had a mention, guys, I just want to make a mention. I had a bloke comment that my oil cooler should be turned up the other way. So the fittings are at the top. So there's no chance of oil sort of draining back out of it. Well, I have checked the fittings. They're full of oil. Not to say that I can't tell that there's air in there, but when you think about it, guys, it's pretty almost impossible for it to actually get air in the system. It could bleed a little bit out, but if it does, it has to draw more oil in. And that's what I'm sort of getting at, because the filter has a non-return flap in it, so there's no way the filter can, or the oil can go back. If it's working properly, there's no way the oil can actually drain back into the sump. And if it goes upstream into the engine, it has to drag oil out through from the pickup. So there's no actual way of it really drawing any air, if you think about it. So I think that's to me, I'm feeling very comfortable running that system like it is. I have cracked the fitting, and there's been oil right through it. It made a bit of a bloody mess, really. I had a towel there and I had to quickly put the fitting on, like the next day when I went to check it, and no, I couldn't find any air in there. It seemed fairly solid of oil. And when I started, it's no different picking up oil. You get oil pretty much straight away, pressure, as soon as it fires up within the second. It's starting to record pressure on the gauge. So I'm very happy to leave it the way it is, guys. All right, well, there you go. That's where we're sitting at the minute. We're not far now from testing and really getting to enjoy the car again, and slowly building up the confidence and running with this new fuel that can tolerate the this combination, and it should work really well. I think it's going to be incredible once I get it all sort of tuned up and sorted. I've got to get a new filter though for the after the pump or downstream from the pump. I've got a paper element in there at the moment, and that's a 4 micron. I've got to go to a 10 micron stainless steel washable element. So I've got to get that. I've actually got E85 in it now. I did run out of petrol the other day when I was testing it, and I put 4 litres or 5 litres of E85 in, and I only idled it for a minute. Interesting note, it ran around 14.5 just idling on E85, and on fuel it was around 11.5 to 12. So it's quite a bit leaner on the E85. Goodness me, you wouldn't want to put that in by mistake and run it with that gas carb on it the way it is. I don't think you'd get too far once you got into boost. It'd be all over. All right, guys, well, I'll pop another vid up very soon as I get onto this carb, and we'll go from there, guys. Fun times ahead. Catch yous later.